hang on. Testing. Good. It was stuck. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for sharing this part of your Sunday evening with us. I know it's wet, I know it's rainy, but how wonderful to look out and see familiar faces. And we have another familiar face coming through the door, one we haven't seen for a while, Joan McPherson. So here she comes. Let's give her a round of applause. Welcome Joan, welcome everyone, and welcome to those who haven't been with us for a while. We're so glad that you're here with us, and we hope that we will be seeing you again and again and again, and soon. What more can I say? Several things changed this evening. Peter is here to play with us. He's so good about doing that because Frank Walker's wife is seriously ill with pneumonia, and he isn't able to be with us. I believe she's home from the hospital, but they live in Jonesville, so he didn't want to leave her by herself. So just be thinking about Joy Walker in your good thoughts and prayers, and much gratitude to this guy over here. And to Frank, who made a recording for us, so we'll get to hear him. I guess that's the next best thing when he can't be with us. So at one point in the service, we'll get to hear him. I want to thank Donna Horton and Carol McCulloch. They are our service coordinators this evening. We'll get to see some of their handiwork later in the service. We're Zooming this evening, so we welcome our Zoomers. Catherine is our Zoom director, and Sandy Ferguson and Bill Taylor are our meeters and greeters. Thanks to all of you. And with that, I am going to say we are ready for our welcoming prayer. I think, Carol, that's you. Is that right? Yeah, that would be great.
Our gathering prayer. From mist and darkness, from restful waters, God gathers us. From health and sickness, from plenty and poverty, God gathers us. From highways and byways, from fields and cities, God gathers us. To a feast, a banquet, to life eternal, God gathers us. Amen.
Good evening. We invoke the Great Spirit Wankantaka, the great mystery, to guide us as we welcome the four directions of our Mother, the Earth. We ask to be given direction and meaning in every moment. Help us to remember today that we are your reflection, your breath, and your heart. We breathe because you breathe, and we say yes to this day of healing. We open our hearts to receive you. We ask to be the wood of your holy fire and the grapes of your holy wine. We are not separate from you. As you breathe, we breathe. We burn sage this evening to welcome the healing smoke that provides healing for us. As we smell the sweet smoke, we inhale the compassion of our great mother. We are reminded that we can heal the unknown wounds we carry. The buffalo drum lets us hear the heartbeat of the divine. Her heart is our heart. The flute and her notes carry us into the mystery of illness and healing. It is only through our brokenness that we are healed. Hiding our brokenness prevents us from healing. Facing to the east,
the grandmothers and the grandfathers of the East reveal the Great Spirit as she reminds us we are the children of the earth and the sky. In this moment of eternity, we walk between two worlds as co-creators of the universe. Altogether, life and death, illness and healing, take us into the mystery of this journey, into the kingdom of heaven, where all is well, all manner of things shall be well. Blessed be the broken in us, for only then will the light enter.
quarter turn to the left, facing to the south. The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the South remind us to create our own personal rituals and ceremonies so that we can know and experience our personal relationship with the divine. Each of us is a prayer of healing for every cell in our bodies. Altogether, life and death, illness and healing, take us into the mystery of this journey, into the kingdom of heaven, where all is well, all manner of things shall be well. Blessed are the broken parts of us, for only then will the light enter. Quarter turn to the right, facing to the west.
The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the West remind us that our prayers from the heart are given birth by the great Creator. We are loved completely and are received by the Beloved with such excitement and anticipation. Altogether, life and death, illness and healing, take us into the mystery of this journey, into the kingdom of heaven, where all is well, all manner of things shall be well. Blessed are the broken parts of us, for only then will the light enter.
A quarter turn to the right, facing to the north. The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the North remind us the goodness of creation lives in all things. Our mother teaches us about the interconnectedness of all things, about balance and about living in harmony. Paradoxically, when we are out of balance and harmony with our true self, we are the most open for deeper healing. Altogether, life and death, illness and healing, take us into the mystery of this journey, into the kingdom of heaven, where all is well, all manner of things shall be well. Blessed are the broken parts of us, for only then will the light enter. Facing to the center space.
The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the center remind us we are all mirrors of God. Look around this circle of life and see the face of God, the Holy One in each face. This is the essence of Namaste. Altogether, life and death, illness and healing, take us into the mystery of this journey, into the kingdom of heaven, where all is well, all manner of things shall be well. Blessed are the broken parts of us, for only then will the light enter. Namaste.
These are readings from the Sufi mystic, poet, and writer Rumi. No mirror ever became iron again. No bread ever became wheat. No ripened grape ever became sour fruit. Mature yourself and be secure from a change for the worse. Become the light. Water says to the dirty, "Come here." The dirty one says, "I'm so ashamed." Water says, "How will your shame be washed away without me?" What hurts you blesses you. And now a reading from the Persian Sufi mystic and poet Hafiz. Everything you do is sacred. Now is the time to know that all that you do is sacred. Now is the time to understand that all of your ideas of right and wrong were just child's training wheels to be laid aside when you can finally live with veracity and love. Now is the time for the world to know that every thought and action is sacred. This is the time for you to deeply compute the impossibility that there is anything but grace. Now is the season to know that everything you do is sacred.
Kintsugi. Several people have said, how do you say that word? Are you sure? It's kintsugi. It's the 15th century practice meaning to join with gold, to bring together the pieces of broken pottery, while at the same time enhancing the breaks, making the piece more beautiful than before it was broken. So instead of repairing an item to look like new, this ancient technique, which is still practiced today, highlights the scars as part of the design. But kintsugi means more than, gee, we shouldn't be throwing away that object that's broken. It can serve as a metaphor for healing ourselves, teaching us that broken places make us stronger and better than before. That when we think we are broken, we can pick up the pieces, put them back together, learn to embrace the cracks, create something more unique, more beautiful, and resilient. I think metaphors and objects are helpful when we contemplate the art of healing. Kintsugi shows us we are better with golden cracks. Think about all of these that are around our face. It took a lifetime, didn't it, to grow those, so to speak. Kintsugi shows us we are indeed better with golden cracks, enabling us to embrace our flaws and our imperfections. But the art of healing takes time. It takes awareness. It takes work for it to truly be healing. Kintsugi as a metaphor and practice can really and truly help us discover how to heal. We only need to imagine ourselves as beautiful vessels showing off brilliant lines of gold, our very own golden cracks, which means acknowledging that we have experienced brokenness along the way in life's journey. And in that acknowledgement, we learn that kintsugi is a way to reframe hardships, a way to remind ourselves that we are not victims of our circumstances. It's a way to help us come out stronger on the other side. The practice of filling cracks with gold is a practice that we can weave into our daily routine, offering ways that fill us with better understanding and appreciation for not just functioning, but living more aware, positive, stronger, healthier, better, and grateful lives. As I understand the way of kintsugi as a practice for wellness, there are 5 principles to follow, beginning with the realization that we need to learn to admire imperfection. Admire imperfection. Kintsugi practices celebrating imperfections and living simply. Since all of us have confronted tough times, leading a perfect life isn't really as realistic, is it? No. And that's despite what we're often told. Take this, do that, and all will be perfect. Learning to admire imperfection is something we need to do alone, by ourselves, and accept that it will indeed take time. The aloneness and the duration teaches us to embrace both the positive and negative parts of our lives, as well as the asymmetry of life. It's a mind shift, if you would, from striving for an impossible ideal to embracing our strengths, leading us to a more positive and strength-oriented way of approaching how we live our life. Next, we need to live our lives with resilience. Live with resilience. Kintsugi practices the ability to endure, to be patient, and to remain calm. Sounds more British, doesn't it, than Asian? Perhaps we experience this already through a form of meditation or prayer, yoga, qigong, centering prayer, cooking, walking. There are so many ways to give our minds a reprieve from dealing with daily stress. Nurturing our minds in this way enables a focusing on challenges as opportunities to learn, to consider our potential, rather than filling our mind's space with negative circumstances. Tapping into our inner strength powerfully outweighs any negative energy. Then, we need to care for our inner circle. Care for our inner circle. Kintsugi practices valuing togetherness. Our healing is aided by the strength and nourishment of family, of friends, and others. Taking care of those closest to us allows us to take good care of ourselves in the same way we would care for a best friend. Knowing that we have a good support system, we tend to care for ourselves a little more, a little better, a little deeper, a little wider, since the idea of giving and receiving has emotional benefits. Next, we need to nourish our own body. Nourish our own body. Kintsugi practices a positive mindset, which begins with a strong, healthy body. Seeing and tasting food nourishes our bodies as well as our souls. Unfortunately, today we have tended to complicate our idea of nutrition by overthinking what we should or what we should not eat. A mind and body connection can be linked through the type of food we eat. If we fuel our bodies with simple, healthy food, our minds are fueled in exactly the same way. Eating mindlessly or unhealthy, we prevent the opportunity to refuel both our bodies and our minds. An important aspect of self-care is nourishing ourselves from the inside out. Finally, we need to cultivate sincere gratitude. Kintsugi practices the art of expressing gratitude for both the good and the bad. And perhaps this is the most important aspect in Kintsugi wellness. Recognizing everything we have and being grateful for all of it enables us to heal more quickly and in a much more resilient sort of way. Practicing gratefulness allows us to live in the present moment rather than wishing for those things that we don't have, helping us reframe experiences by rewiring our brains to see the positive instead of the negative. Being grateful for what is good and not so good. Does everything happen for a reason? Believing that it does, then there is no difficult situation that comes our way without purpose. Kintsugi wellness identifies that purpose as a way of becoming more aware, positive, stronger, healthier, and continually grateful. By overcoming the obstacles that bombarded us then, now, and in the future, we will become a better version of ourselves, including all of our golden cracks. Now, I think much of this is familiar to most of us. A slight difference, however, in the art of healing with the principles of Kintsugi is the key element of highlighting gold cracks which draw attention to the beautiful persons we have become. During our last service, Catherine shared with us the healing nature of the shaman. They learn to heal themselves, and then that healing flows outward to others and eventually into the community or the tribe. And if we understand healing in this way and undertake to heal ourselves, then others, we indeed have the capacity to share our healing energy within the community. This evening, we're going to have that opportunity to consider the brokenness in our state, in our country, and in the world. And then rather than covering up the cracks, we're going to fill them in. At each of the 3 tables, there is a map, a state map, a map of the United States, and a world map. There are also 2 stations at each one of the maps that contain gold liquid and brushes. You are invited to come to each of the 3 maps, beginning with the state map, moving to the map of the United States, and finally to a map of gold. Donna is going to be standing at the state map. Carol is going to be standing at the map of the United States. 2 folks will be able to work at each station. However, some of it's going to be a little cattywampus, but we're not into perfection this evening, right? We're into acknowledging imperfection. And when you've finished at one, and there's an opening at the next station, go ahead. move to that station. And you might have to step back slightly while you're waiting for the next station to become free, but we'll each have an opportunity to fill in those cracks, however, wherever. It doesn't matter. We know that there is brokenness. Sometimes they'll connect, sometimes they won't. Sometimes there'll be a blob, sometimes it will look like a web. But we invite each of you to do that. And then these maps, with their cracks of gold filled in, will serve as our metaphors for much that needs mending. That with these gold highlights, there is an awareness of something more positive, stronger, and better. And while we know more mending will be needed for this evening, these are our kintsugi healed metaphors. So Donna, if you would head over to the state map, and Carol, if you would head over to the map of the United States, and then we will invite each one of you to come up. Again, 2 stations, starting with South Carolina, so we need 2 people to start at South Carolina. You are invited into the practice of kintsugi. Perfection is not what this is about, so it's sort of a draw and go. we'll have an opportunity in just a few minutes to come up and look at what our kintsugi looks like. But in the meantime, I would invite Sandy and Bill to pass the offering stars. Do we have them? We are dependent on you, each one of you, for your generous support, your time, your talent, your treasure. This circle doesn't form without you in so many different ways, so many different ways. Thanks to each of you for your generosity. Once again this evening, we are going to gather around the table to share in communion. Perhaps this evening we will consider this tradition as a celebration of the gold that fills in the mended cracks in our lives. Donna is going to lead us in the responsive prayer of blessing. There are 2 stations, each with bread baked by Gail, wine and grapes, and Peter is going to share music while we move to and from the table. In addition to the maps, I would invite you to look at the beautiful flower arrangement created by Steve Willis. Thank you, Steve. It's lovely. So on that note, I would invite us to find that place as we share communion together.
Let us share the blessing for bread and wine. The loaf of bread, a loaf of blessing which we bless, break, and eat. Are we not taking into ourselves the substantial substance, the very essence of Christ? The cup of wine, a cup of blessing which we bless, pour, and drink. Are we not taking into ourselves the essential energies, the very essence of Christ? In blessing this bread and this wine, our manyness becomes oneness. Take and eat, take and drink, and be blessed with the essential energy and substantial substance, the very essence of Christ. Then as one, we become blessings for many. Amen. In closing, we'll have the benediction, our prayer of greatest thanksgiving. How will we reflect our thankfulness for our manyness and becoming oneness, God's kingdom including all of us? By being a community of messengers who proclaim and remind one another and all of creation that Christ has died, that Christ has risen, that Christ comes again, and is always with us whenever we forgive those who hurt us, invest in those who are vulnerable, relieve those who are in pain, feed those who are hungry, give water to those who are thirsty, provide shelter for those who are homeless, donate clothes for those who are naked, share in the table and eat with those whom others consider unworthy. In caring from all of us, amazing Creator, we make this declaration. We have been formed in your image to be part of your story, your kingdom, and we are grateful for receiving a taste of your kingdom in this meal. Please use this food to strengthen us to be your joy and hopeful resurrection community, experiencing and sharing your kingdom of love, justice, and mutuality. Through us, healing God. This is our prayer of greatest thanksgiving. Amen.
As we leave this place, I leave you with this thought. Gentle us, Holy One, into an unclenched moment, a deep breath, a letting go of heavy expectations, shriveling anxieties, of dead certainties. That we be softened by the silence, surrounded by the light, and left open to the mystery. May we find wholeness, upheld by the unfathomable, entranced by the simple, and filled by the joy that is divinely sacred. You, divine you. Amen. Go in peace.